Pokémon. You know them, I know them, Ronald McDonald knows them.
Now at Burger King, limited edition toys and trading cards from Pokémon the first movie. One inside every tasty Burger King Big Kids meal you buy.
Burger King got a SpongeBob meal before me?
They've been around for a long time, making games, cards, anime, plus you name it. There's probably a Pokemon version of it. And of course, the people behind Pokemon know that fans would love to meet their favorite Pokemon. And yes, they will pay for that experience. So that was today's video is all about. A look back at Pokemon's meet and greet costumes. So I'm going to do this in no particular order, just going to go with the flow. But I will say that all of Pikachu's costumes will be at the end of the video. Without the way, let's start. So the two I'm going to start off with are Hoopa and Manaphy. Yes, I know it's weird putting them together, but I'm doing it for one reason. They have an eye mechanism in the head of the costume, which, is something really special. Usually costumes only have one expression, being the head is given. But to make it more expressive for these costumes, it has it that the main eyes retract so the eyes in the back show. Now, I only could find a video of Hoopa moving his eyes, sadly not for Manaphy, but at least there are photos that we could look at so you can understand what I'm trying to talk about. You see that Manaphy's eyes are open, and then here's are them closed. Also, it may seem like Hoopa's arms are just floating there, but in reality, they're connected to the ring around the stomach. Which, damn, that's good, because, that tricked me for a good minute. Yeah. Now moving on, for this next costume. It is the coolest, the baddest, the most emo of them all. It's Darkrai. Now Darkrai was first seen for a press event for the Dialga vs. Palkia vs. Darkrai movie, which released in 2007, in part for a Darkrai special event. You see, via wireless communication at all theaters showing the movie at the time, moviegoers would have brought their Nintendo DS and Pokemon Diamond or Pearl game and attending Darkrai wirelessly from their seats. This was before the movie, not during. There would have been directions on the screen saying what to get him. Which, that's awesome. The hell? Listen, this is how you do marketing. Listen, I would like to get a Pokemon every time a movie starts. Before the movie starts. Did I say it correctly? Anyways, this is how you do marketing. Which then appeared in 2008 in a Pokemon Day event at Walibi World. Sorry if I mispronounced that. At amusement park in the Netherlands. And then later on in a baseball field with Manaphy. Yeah. And this is not the only costume at Walibi World. There was also Piplup and Turtwig. Now for Piplup, I'm pretty sure they only have 4 different suits out there. The first 2 seems to have been used in unison, while the third was for Pokemon Go, and the last was made around late 2020, early 2021, which is about using everything. For Turtwig, there seems to only be 1 costume ever made, which makes sense. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And, at this point, I'm just going to talk about all the legendary and mythical Pokemon that are left. So, next we have something quite interesting. A shiny Genesect costume. Not regular, shiny. You see, this costume was made for the 2013 Genesect in the Legend Awakened movie, and it's great. But I would love to see a non-shiny suit. Personally, I just want to say this. How heavy it is. I'll maybe say 15 pounds because of the cannon. But, it's made out of plastic. But, the cannon. Anyways, let's see. Who do I talk about next? Oh, you know what? I know. Diancie. Like how Genesect was for the movie release, Diancie is too. For the 2014 Diancie in the Cocoon of Destruction movie. Jesus, that was a long ass name. Damn. Anyways, if you're a Diancie fan, yay good. Someone cooked here. However, after this, I don't think they were ever seen again. Maybe a couple more times just for press events for the movie, but I think after that it went whoosh. But now, listen, I have to mention one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. You know who that is? That is Jirachi. Listen, this costume is great. Someone cooked here. However, sadly, there's not a lot of information on this costume. The only place I found a confirmed sighting was at St. Louis Union Station in Missouri. Yeah, I know it's weird. That is Missouri. Nothing else. But the evidence out there showing him here. Kind of weird. I looked for Jirachi movie press events, but still nothing. Which, just broke my heart. Moving on, we have Metaletta. And yeah, bro, listen, I don't remember anything about this Pokemon. That's on me. That's my bad. But Metaletta seems to have been only used for certain events that incorporate music. Not just for a special event that was one time, such as a movie or game. So Metaletta has been seen a lot. Can't say the same about Jirachi. Listen, that's my boy. I'm gonna bring him up multiple times. I just want you to preface that. Now, Metaletta has 2 different forms, but only got the one. However, there's an honor Pokemon who got both, which is Shaman. Now, for its Sky form, the deer is mostly used or exclusively used to reveal Pokemon planes, while the land form, the Hedgehog, was made for the 2008 Year Tenant in the Sky Warrior movie. I believe the land form was only seen one other time, I could be wrong, outside the movie press event, and after that, it has not shown up at all. Which, kind of sucks, man. Now, there's actually an honor costume. I feel like it's like the land form of Shaman, and that is Volcanion. You see, this is an honor costume that was made for a movie, the 2016 Volcanion and the Mechanical Morpho film. And after this, has only been seen one other time for a kind of Meta.
He won 3 piston cups. He did what in his cup?
Sorry, toe show. Jesus! Toy show. This suit is also a four-legged costume, which, walks on all fours. I don't know how that is even possible. Tell me where you can fit that person inside. I really don't see it. Next up, we have Victini. And for them, I don't think they were used originally for some kind of event. I think they were just generally used for random events, meaning they're not for specifically was made for a movie or a game, but I could be wrong. Now for Victini, it appears that they have three different suits. The first being a bigger costume, the second being the same but slimmed down, and the third being a whole different design with its mouth open. Out of the three, I prefer the first. It's just my opinion, but the newest one looks like less Victini. You know what I'm trying to get at? Continuing, we have the newest legendary Pokemon, Trapagos. Now, I believe the first time the costume was seen was at a lighting ceremony, especially for Pokemon. It could have been seen somewhere beforehand, but I'm pretty sure this was, the first time it was seen. And it's great. 10 out of 10, nothing has to be said. Moving on, we have Zeraora, who was first seen for the 2018 Pokemon The Power of Us movie, which then was later seen at the launch of Pokemon Unite. I really like this costume. Very good job. A round of applause. Yeah. Next up, we have the most angry Pokemon ever, Mewtwo. Listen, have a Kit Kat. I recommend the Halloween Kit Kat. Ooh, it's spooky. Listen, I really like that one. Yeah, listen, they really cooked here. I believe the first appearance for the suit was at Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution for a movie press event. After that, could be seen at other Pokemon events, which, I really like. They didn't need to be seen once and disappear, like Jirachi. And moving on, we have Zarude. And this has to be one of my favorite Pokemon designs out there. It's really, really unique. I really like it. So Zarude only has one suit, which is on screen, and was first seen and only for the 2020 Pokemon Secrets of the Jungle movie, which I believe has not appeared again, which sucks. Like, come on, you put all this effort in this costume, and then you could at least bring it out once in a while, right? And for our final mythical / legendary Pokemon, we have Celebi. For Celebi, it appears that they have two different suits, the first being for the 2001 Forever movie, while the honor seems to have been an updated version of the original around 2020, which I know looking at first doesn't have the biggest of differences, but it's a good suit. They don't need to change much. It was built in 2001, so that's a long time. Which brings us to the end for the mythical / legendary Pokemon. But this is just the appetizer, the bird from Red Lobster. Next we have the main dish, part 1 to the power 4 times 27, which is the starters, excluding Pikachu. And I'm gonna go in the order of this picture I found, as it's more fun this way. You don't need me to be a tie-dye saying this is generation 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, that's not fun. Let's do it the fun way, yeah. So for Cyndaquil, it appears that it has two different suits. Now, the original was for a 2004 Pokemon Play, which didn't have any of the fire detail on the back, which, is very odd. Cyndaquil is supposed to have fire. However, the new updated suit was for a Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon TV commercial for the Nintendo 3DS, yeah, in 2016, and this version of the suit does have fire on the back, which is good. I was watching you Pokemon there, you got me a little bit scared there. Okay, anyways, next up we have Totodile, my favorite starter Pokemon, and for my honor boy, he has three different suits. Now, the info behind this first suit is kinda non-existing, and I can only find this one photo, which sucks. However, we do know this is the first, as the second was made for a 2004 Pokemon live show. I'm going to do my best trying to do live show and play the best I can not to get confused. And you can see the yellow crest on Totodile has gotten smaller. And for the third suit, it was made for Legends ZA, the newest Pokemon game, which for me personally is not the best. This one has to be the most disappointing new suit Pokemon has made. It's a little bit disappointing. There's also a Totodile's evolution costume of Crocodile, but I'm pretty sure this is just fan-made as it was seen in state fairs. Yeah. Okay, next up we have one of the costumes that so far has brought me the most pain. Squirtle! Listen, I won't get into why this guy was a headache, but I'm pretty sure, has three different suits. Listen, I don't know why it was so hard for me to find any info on them, but the first two are from live shows, plays. Well, the third is from the Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon TV commercial for the Nintendo 3DS in 2016, just like Cyndaquil was. Yeah, so next up we have Chikorita, which only has one costume and has been recently seen for Legends ZA. Yeah, not that much. I was surprised. I would think he would have an older costume variation, but now just the one. Anyways, we're back to Generation 1 with Bulbasaur. And bro, okay, Gen 1 has given me the most headaches for starters anyways, and that's why he only has appeared in this 2016 ad, just like the others we've been covering, and it can be that a Gen 1 starter is so hardly used, I fail to believe that. And that also goes for Charmander. They really only appeared in live shows for plays in the 90s and early very 2000s for the Nintendo Space World in 1999. Yeah, I think that was the first time it was seen, and the newer costume for this 2016 ad. And I don't know how is it that the Honor starters and Honor Pokemon, I have all their info, but Gen 1, there's nothing. Listen, I'll make an update video if I find anything new. This just really can't be. Anyways, moving on, we have our main man, Trico, who has two different suits. The first appears to have been used for a live show with a very hardly seen Max costume around 2005. Now, the new costume seems to have been appeared, around 2016. I think the first time it was seen in the Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon ad, and mostly can be found in Pokemon centers and Pokemon events. A costume that can be seen nowadays. And moving on, we have Fennekin, and for Fennekin, they were not exclusively found at any event, so they were pretty common to see at Pokemon centers or random events, which is good. I like that. It's not like they could do that with, a certain Pokemon that starts with a J, Jirachi, but now, that would be a little bit crazy now, would it? Now for this next Pokemon, we go back to the interesting stuff. Isn't that fun? Yeah, it's Mudkip. So for Mudkip, from what I could find, has 5 different suits. However, I couldn't piece a real timeline on when they were used, as it seems that multiple Mudkips were used during the same time, and older suits are sometimes used today, which I found odd, as no other Pokemon really has this issue. Besides one yellow rat. What? Who's that Pikachu? What? Anyways, personally, I feel that the 2016 Mudkip from the ad looks the best. Which one do you think looks the best? I say 2016. Yeah. Anyways, moving on, we have Oshawott, which has 3 different suits. One for the release of the black and white anime, a honor seems to have been updated for Legends Arceus, and the one in the middle appears to have been used for game shows with a closed mouth. I feel the new one for Legends Arceus is much better than the first one, as it has some flaws such as the legs and collar around the head. But the game show one has a bit of both costumes, such as the old legs and new collar. I think the middle one is the best. Anyways, moving on, we have Chimchar, and for this little guy, he has 3 different suits, just like Oshawott. But bro, I felt crazy person. I really felt like a crazy person comparing the hairs between the different suits for this little Pokemon. This ain't healthy. Anyways, the first appeared in game shows and at Pokemon events. The second was used for Pokemon Go, and the last is the most updated one. Is used for events and social media posts. Yeah. Next up, we have Chespin, which has 2 different suits. One that was in 2013 for the X and Y anime show, where the honor seems to have been the original updated around 2016. The 2013 version has its mouth concave with depth to it, while the 2016 is flat. The eyes and arms are also different. I feel the first one was better, as the 2016 one seems just a little bit too big to it. Anyways, moving on with Torchic, the KFC Pokemon. Listen, I'll eat Torchic, I ain't gonna lie. And for Torchic, they have 2 different suits. One that was around from the earliest date I saw, 2006 to the mid 2010s, which then got updated by changing the head shape, wings, and beak. The OG had just solid wings, an oval head, and more pointy beak, while the new one has a little gradient of red on the wings, a round head, and a less pointy beak. Yeah. I'm glad I found the differences between 2, because I really thought that he only had 1 costume, but he has 2. Yeah! Next up we have Froakie, who only has 1 costume and that could be easily seen around, as it's not exclusive to any particular event or show, which is good. Like, this is a great costume, and if this was a limited time event and only seen once and gone, that would suck. But they didn't do that, so that's good. And moving on, we have Tip-Pig, the pig roast Pokemon, the Pumbaa, the barbecue snack. And for this little guy, he has 3 different suits. For the OG suit, it was able to see at all kinds of Pokemon events and Pokemon centers. That also goes for the second, which goes for a different approach, being able to walk on all 4s. The only other Pokemon that I could think does this is Volcanion, and I'm pretty sure after this no other suits do this, which is very unique. And for the third, it was made for Pokemon Legends ZA, the newest game in the Pokemon franchise, which you can see him around as it's the newest game. And alright, for the final Pokemon in the order, we have Snivy, which I need your help with. So looking at this, would you think Snivy has 1 or 2 costumes? Personally, I believe 2. Now if you don't see what I'm talking about, look at the tail. Doesn't it seem shorter on the one on the left? It could be the angle, but if not, then Snivy has 1 costume that could be seen around at Pokemon events and at Pokemon centers, but not as often as he's from an older generation. Now for the next 3 generations, they're the newest, meaning they don't have any variations of the the Pokemon costumes, and it can be seen at Pokemon centers or Pokemon events. So that goes for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Sun and Moon, and Sword and Shield. And with that, we talked about all the Pokemon starters. Yeah, listen, that took a while, but now we can talk about all the other Pokemon there are. Then Pikachu, please listen, man, don't make me do that. That yellow rat has way too many costumes. Okay, so we have been doing it in sections, right? So let's continue the tradition by talking about the early life shows and retired costumes that are out there. And I just want to mention this before we start, that some of the costume sections will be short. I just want to clarify that, as I'm not going to make up stuff for making up stuff. This is out of passion or love, so if there's not a lot of information on the costume, it's just going to be short. Yeah! So first up, we have Baneri, Togepi, Cubone, and Blossom. Now at first it may seem weird putting them all together, but there's a reason. These are customs that were used in live shows, which after ended has not been seen again, or was used a couple more times, which then also has not been seen again. So for a binary example, was seen through 2008, 2009, it seems for a live Pokemon event alongside Krogrunk, which also has a great costume. At first I thought they were for the 2008 Pokemon World Championships, but it looks different, and doing more research, it was just for a Pokemon event at the time. For Togepi and Cubone, they were used at Nintendo Space World in 1999 for a Pokemon show, which after that was used 200 times outside the event, one indoors and another one outside. It could have been part of the Nintendo Space World for some outdoor show. I'm not sure about that part. After that, I only could find that Togepi appeared in some live airing for a Pokemon outro song called 151 Dreams, which, is actually very good. Take a listen to that. And lastly, for Bellasta, they were used in a 2004 Pokemon Live show, and it seems it was for a train's 11th anniversary. I don't know which train exactly, but digging more, it looks like in 2003 for the train's 10th anniversary, there was an Honor Pokemon show having Max, Torchic, and Trico, which we took a look at earlier. And it was after 2004, Bellasta has not been seen once. I could be wrong, yes, however, from all the info I have, it seems that this is the case, sadly. Next up, we have Plusle and Minun. Now, I'm gonna do my best to make a timeline, as their info is kind of everywhere, and I'm just using context clues. So what we do know is these guys were short-lived. Well, kind of. I'm gonna do my best to, to get into it. They only had two suits, being these two on screen, and you see this picture of them were in August of 2005 in the Pokemon Center in Tokyo. And a couple months before, there was a Pokemon Center monthly Pikachu with Plusle Minun. So I'm guessing these costumes were used for this event specifically, but this is just my hypothesis. They could have been made after the fact with no correlation to the plush. Anyways, furthermore, they were appeared in the Pokemon Center in Yokohama and the Pokemon Center in Osaka. However, after this, they were used for the Pokemon Rocks American Tour, which has some of the coolest stuff around, and for the Pokemon's 10th anniversary in New York City in 2006. Anyways, Plusle was seen around 2012 for a live show by Memorial Club or Z. Sorry for the mispronunciation. But now, after that ends with no more information. Pretty interesting, right?
He won 3 piston cups. He did what in his cup?
Now for this next costume, it's pretty old and it's Pachirisu. Pachirisu was a costume mostly used for live shows in the early 2000s, meaning plays. They only have one costume, so no variations of any kind, and after the early 2000s, I don't know what happened to this costume. I think it really just faded into retirement. Now moving on, we have Elekid, and appeared in 1999 for
紅白歌合戦
which is an annual New Year's television special, which I really love, but sadly it looks like he's been retired after this, and there's no other information on this costume, which is kind of sad. Again, they put so much effort into the suit, and boom, gone. Oh man, come on, man. Now for these next two suits, Tyrogue and Machop, they appeared on the same live show as Cubone, and after this has not appeared again. I can only find these handful of photos, which is weird as there are many other photos for the rest of the costumes that were used for this live show play. So I don't know if they retired early and only appeared in a couple variations or iterations of this play, so I really don't know what happened to it. Anyways, moving on, we have Snubbull, a Pokemon that was seen on live shows and at Pokemon Centers, only has one costume, and that's it. Yeah, not that much sadly, but it's still a good costume nevertheless, and that really goes for all of the costumes. Next up, we have Wynaut, who first appeared for the 2002 Pokemon Heroes movie, which then can be found at Pokemon Centers, and then since has not been seen again, sadly, and only has this one costume. Kind of sad that, I say Wynaut's a very popular character, and seen, then gone. Anyways, at least we can talk about Wobbuffet now, which I believe first appeared for the 2005 Pokemon World Championships, however, then I couldn't find much after that. Now for the final suit for the section, we have Teddiursa, a costume that was originally used in a live show, a play, and after seems to have been used for some kind of Pokemon event, which is actually a variant of the suit, which surprised me by having a blue nose. After that, he's not been seen once. Yeah, now, that's the end for that section. We've talked about the mythical / legendary Pokemon, the starters, the early life show, and retired costumes. Let's just do the modern costumes with the variations now. And alright, who do we do? That is the question that plagues the minds of many, but not mine. Next up we have Ludicolo, one of the best Pokemon ever, taking that to my grave, plus another 6 feet. And bro, they did him beautifully. So beautifully, just look at the way he walks. Now, that is a 10 out of 10 grade suit. However, this costume only has been seen once in 2019 for a Pokemon Baby brand line. Thank you, Pokemon, for absolutely nothing, shortchanging the fans I see. But you wouldn't do that, right? With Jirachi, huh? Moving on, we have Executor and Ampharos. Now these are very well done costumes that can be seen all over the place. At libraries, Pokemon centers, any Pokemon event really has a chance for them being there. And these are new costumes, so there are no variations or any honors for them. So one each, one variation of for each Pokemon. Next up, we have Munchlax, eat all the goddamn food Pokemon, which is me. For this little guy, he has 3 different suits. The first one was for a Pokemon Live show in Japan, from the earliest that I found, 2007, to the latest 2009. The second is from 2006, and I believe it first appeared at a Pokemon's 10th anniversary event, though it could have been used beforehand, I'm not sure about that. And the final one is the most updated version that came out around 2019 or 2020. Yeah, and I guess we should talk about Snorlax next, right? Yeah, so for Snorlax, he has 2 different suits that are actually both still used. It's not like one is retired and they're using the new one. Both can be found at Pokemon events in Japan. And the difference between the two are the face, shade color, legs, and the size of the belly. Yeah, anyways, moving on, we have Vulpix and its Alolan form. Now, just like how Shaman was used to promote a Pokemon plane, both variations of Vulpix, there we go, were used for a plane design that had Vulpix everywhere. They were also used to promote a Vulpix bus. And I'm pretty sure then they appeared at a bakery, which up to now can be seen at random Pokemon events. The last I saw was 2024, so 1 year isn't that bad. Moving on for this next Pokemon, I need a little bit of help. Hey Drac, what is it called when a solid mass made from 1 or more minerals to smash together?
Rocks!
Thank you for the help, I did not know that. Anyways, next up we have Geodude in its Alolan form. Now, I know what you may be thinking. He has socks on, and you see the reason why it looks like this is because it's supposed to be like a PNG. Yeah, with like the background. Anyways, it's creative, but still looks odd. But just imagine, or just look at the face, anyways, it works. Yeah, anyways, this costume can also be seen at Pokemon events pretty regularly. Yeah. Moving on, we have Shanshu and its Alolan form. These costumes also can be seen regularly at Pokemon events, just like the Honor Alolan and normal form costumes. Also, these are like the rest of the costumes we looked at. They're pretty great and don't have any variations. Besides them, or Halloween costumes, which, they look pretty cute, I ain't gonna lie. Next up, we have Lapras, which only has 1 suit and can be seen pretty regularly at Pokemon centers or Pokemon events. Also, here's a video of it walking around. Bro wants help. Anyways, next up we have Alcremie, the delicious Pokemon. Okay, listen. What would you think KO'd me first? Having a cardiac arrest by eating a Creamy, a 1-foot Pokemon made of whipped cream, or 1,000 volts of electricity to the top of my head? That's the question we all want to know.
Lightning McQueen? Is that you?
And it was for Creamy, they only have 1 costume that was used for a Pokemon Center event in 2024. It only has one form, which makes sense. They ain't gonna do some random one out of 63. They're gonna make the one that has all the promotional images on. Yeah! Moving on, we have Greninja. One of the coolest Pokemon ever. Like, come on. Ash Greninja was top tier writing. Anyways, for Greninja, they have 2 different suits. The first you are seeing was for the 2016 Pokemon General Election, with Greninja being the most popular Pokemon. For the second suit, it's generally used for any Pokemon event, really, but can be most seen at athletic events. Now, looking at both, the differences are the shade of blue, feet, tongue, eyes, the knee pads, and star on the legs. I also believe the head are different. I believe they're different heads, but I think it's just the lighter shade of blue playing tricks on my mind. But I'm not sure about that. Moving on, we have Sudowoodo. Now, I know we just went through a lot of history with Plus or Minum and Greninja, but this guy's the opposite. Sudowoodo is just basically used for Pokemon events, but especially for social media posts. They have no costume variations, so just the one. Yeah, but now we have a mini section for the local arts collaboration. So this collaboration was between Pokemon and a local arts product expedition. So basically a series of events in Japan promoting regional specialties and tourism through a project called Pokemon Local Arts, which, I think that's fun. And the first Pokemon we have was Dragonite, which was used for this event, which I really like this costume. Yeah! And that goes for Slowpoke and its Galarian form too, which was also used for the Pokemon Local Arts Product Exhibition. They have no costume variations and can be seen at Pokemon events, social media posts, Pokemon centers, so you get it, they're seen pretty regularly. There was a Slowking costume, however, it was an official mascot costume used in 2005 for the Japanese Pokemon theme park, Pokepark, which after that, I couldn't find anything else. Yeah, and yes I know I could have put this in an earlier section, but I wanted to keep it all together with the rest of the Slowpokes. So continuing with the Pokemon Local Arts, we have Growlithe, which has 2 different variations, one with a closed mouth and one with an open mouth. They can be seen at Pokemon events, so you get it, they're seen pretty regularly, just like the Honors. Moving on, we have Chansey, which was seen for the Pokemon Local Arts and a Pokemon Manhole collab event. They only have 1 costume variation, and that's it. And for the final Pokemon Local Arts costume, we have Quagsire. They also have 1 costume and was seen for a press event that the city of Koichi partnered with the Pokemon Company to promote regional revitalization. Listen, I have the word on screen. It's taking me a while to do this. Additionally, Quagsire was appointed Koichi's favorite Pokemon, which, that's good. Good on you, Quagsire. And alright, for the next mini section, we have the Halloween party at Universal Japan, which brought us Mischievous and Banette, my favorite ghost type Pokemon. I just gotta put that out there. There was also Mimikyu and Pumpkaboo. I don't know if you don't mind. Pumpkaboo, X and Y anime. Mimikyu is also good, but Pumpkaboo, yeah. Which also, Litwick was there at the party. And of course, if it's a Halloween party, Gengar has to be there, which he has one main costume, and you see, it was dressed up for the party, so it's a variation of the costume, but not the costume itself. It's more like a costume on a costume, yeah, that makes sense. Anyways, there's something that makes this costume top tier, and it has to do something with the eyes. They are able to glow bright red. Whoever thought of that needs to raise hands down. This is only able to be seen in dark areas, as if it wasn't there you couldn't tell, but still there in addition. That's good. That's good. That's a good costume. Yeah. Now going back to the main section for the modern suits, we have Adina, a 2010s costume that could have been seen at Pokemon Centers and random Pokemon events. They only have one costume, but they did wear a Santa hat during the holidays. And I think the last time they were seen was 2016, so pretty recently. Wait. 2016? What the hell am I on about? It has been 10 years since 2016. Listen, how long? Jesus, I'm old. Anyways, next up we have Makuhita, which I first believe appeared in 2022 for a venue out of a Tokyo Grand Sumo tournament. Afterwards, he has appeared in Pokemon events and social media posts, a costume that is seen quite frequently, which is good. Who would not like a photo with this guy? Listen, I would like a photo of him, I ain't gonna lie. Moving on, we have Clefairy, a costume just like Makuhita that can be seen at Pokemon events and social media posts, a costume that is seen quite frequently. From what I can tell, they don't have any variations, so just the one costume. Now moving on, we have one of the most popular Pokemon ever, and coolest, Lucario, who has 3 different suits, 2 regular ones and a shiny variant. The shiny suit comes from a Pokemon Center Horizons anime event, which can also been seen at Honor Horizons anime events. Now for the 2 Honor suits, they were used at Pokemon events and really social media posts, and really Pokemon Centers, anything Pokemon really. Now the first suit comes from the 2010 era, while the new one is from the 2020s. You can see the head, eyes, and legs are different from the original to the new, the shiny suit just being a recolor of the new updated suit. Yeah. Next up we have Beware, a costume that was available to see many times during the Sun and Moon era, at Pokemon Centers and Pokemon events. Beware only has one costume and seems not to be used in recent times. The latest time that I saw was 2017-2018. They could have been used in 2019, but it would have been in early 2019 as Sword and Shield came out. Yeah. And might as well talk about Obstagoon if we're on the subject of Sword and Shield. So this costume is just like Beware. It was only seen for the Sword and Shield era at Pokemon Center, so Pokemon events, up until Scarlet and Violet, and they only have one costume. Yeah. And anyways, let's keep on going. We have Eevee and the Evolutions. Yeah, listen, they're very popular, but there are only 2 suits. One for Eevee and one for Vaporeon, which I know sounds weird, but it's true. For Eevee, there we go. This is a costume that can be seen at pretty much everywhere, like Pikachu. For Vaporeon, I believe the first appearance was at President announcing that Vaporeon as the official mascot for Japan's Water Day. Yeah, that's it. Pretty lax wetsuit, right? Yeah, for some reason, some of the most popular Pokemon, right? Evolutions. Listen, you and I know that you know that Pokemon knows that the Evolutions and Eevee is one of the top tier Pokemon that makes them the most amount of money. But, they don't make costumes for them. Which, I think that's weird. Yeah. Moving on, we have Morpeko and Cinderace. So for Cinderace, they're just like Greninja and Lucario, appearing mostly at sports events and social media posts. They only have one costume and still be able to be seen. For Morpeko, I actually have some issues finding the reason this costume is elusive. Not saying this costume was at a limited time event. It's actually usually in everything. Pokemon Centers events, parades, you get it. But it just looks like it comes out once in a blue moon. Moving on, we have Psyduck, Rockruff, Sableye, and Zoroark. I know it may be random adding them all together, but after this we only have to talk about Meowth, Pichu, and then Pikachu, and then some random one-off. So for Psyduck, it's a costume that is seen quite often in Pokemon Center's events, parades, just like Eevee and Pikachu. For Rockruff, they were made for the Sun and Moon era, but are still be able to see in today's events, like live shows, social media posts, so just like the others we have seen so far. However, for Sableye and Zoroark, they were made for a Pokemon Live TV program called Pokemon Sunday or Pokemon Smash. Personally, for me, I'll say that Sableye is 100% more hard to find, as I only could find one occasion of them appearing at Pokemon events for a Pokemon Center meet and greet. I guess you could say the same about Zoroark, as after Pokemon Sunday ended, I couldn't find anything to talk about a meet and greet. However, I doubt there was nothing. This is just me guessing that it could be the same as Sableye, as they were from the same show. And only more info will appear if people still have photos and memories from that time. Yeah. Okay, now moving on to one of the big three, we have Pichu, who has three different suits. The first comes from the early 2000s and lasted up until 2008 to 2009, when the costume got updated. You can see the head, ears, collar, and legs are all different. I also found it looks like there's a variation of the suit with the ears backwards, but I feel like this is some kind of mistake instead of some official decision. So this costume, the second, is still used today. However, our Honor Pichu costume was made during the same time, 2009. The only difference was the head, but the body kept the same. So in modern times, there are two different costumes that you can make. I wouldn't say that one over the other is harder to see, but they're about equal. And next up we have Meowth, who is the greatest character ever. That is something that does not need to be said. And for Meowth, it looks like he has three main suits with three variations. So six in total. So this first one is something interesting, right? It's based on how Meowth looked at the time, the early days. Here's a card for instance. With the eyes, I guess, what's the word? More realistic? I don't know the exact word. So this costume was made in 1998 or I believe 1999. Anyways, this costume was used in everything. I mean, events, live shows, TV, really anything. This costume also had a variation for a 2004 live play. I believe the same 2004 live play that Blossom was used in for the train's 11th anniversary. Afterwards, this costume will be updated in the early 2000s, in which it got cuter instead of realistic. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to go for, but you can see the difference. Anyways, for this costume, there are two variations. One seems to be him as some kind of wizard, the other as Dawn, which I don't remember happening in the anime, but I still like this. I don't know if he's happy or begging for mercy. Anyways, for the final last costume for Meowth, it was made in 2016 or 2015 for the Sun and Moon era. However, just like how Pichu had both the second and third costume, still available, Meowth is the same, second and third, and I really don't think one is harder to see than the other. Both about equal. And finally, for the last Pokemon, before I talk about one other Pokemon, we have the Pokemon that really cemented the franchise, Pikachu. Which, I really do not want to do this guy. He has way too many costumes, but listen, I guess it can't be helped, but I would try my best to have everything in order. Yeah, okay, first in 1999, we got our first Pikachu costume. Well, actually, three Pikachu costumes. Yeah, in 1999, there was three Pikachu costumes. So the first one comes from London Toy Fair to promote the cards. The second was for the 1999 Super Smash Bros. Ad made by KCL Productions, there we go. A company which, oh my god, has some of the coolest costumes ever. I gotta make a video of that. Yeah. And the third was for the first Pokemon movie in 1999. This costume could have been also used in 1998 for Japan, but I'm not sure about that. However, this costume was the most used iteration, being seen about every Pokemon event until 2010 when they updated the suit to the one everybody knows. Now, this costume has changed so many times over the years from 2010, and I really want to thank NintendoSoup.com for having this image so you can really tell how much this has changed. And I personally try to find all the different dates for each Pokemon costume tweak and little change. And bro, to be honest, I was planning something so great, right? A massive timeline, but it's not worth it as different costumes, the best stutter there, duh, were used at the same time, making what I had, very messy, which, you don't want a messy video. I don't want to do that. That sounds like a pain. Whatever. However, on screen, I'll put the different costumes Pikachu has worn over the years, which is like a lot, but it's not all of them. I should do a separate video for that, but you guys will let me know. Yeah. And I almost forgot to mention someone very special, and that's Ditto. Yeah, the only Ditto costume is him being Pikachu, which is great, yeah, it was good. But I would like to see Ditto in his number form. This is something I believe they could do just like Lapras, so it's not far-fetched. That's on a Pokemon. There's also Detective Pikachu, who has two different costumes, one for the game and movie, which out of them both you can still see the game version of the costume. Really does make sense to see the movie, as that was one-time release. Let's make Detective Pikachu 2, huh? But there's still one more Pikachu costume that I haven't talked about. And if you're a Pokemon fan that knows all the obscure stuff, I think you already know I'm talking about the 1997/1998 Pikachu costume for the premiere of the original anime. Now, the reason I didn't put this first is because people believe this costume is either not official or official. This costume is from 1997, don't get that wrong. Just its origin is what people are unsure of. It's canonicity. Is that the word, canonicity? Officiality? Cappuccino. Anyways, after spending more time on this than anything else, I am certain that this is a official Pikachu costume that the Pokemon Company made, which makes this the oldest costume we have looked at, but that is not entirely true. Remember when I said after this we only have to talk about Meow, Pichu, Pikachu, and then once someone, some random one off, that part. Okay, so that time is right now. So both for the 1997 Pikachu and the London Toy Fair suit, they weren't alone. There was an honor being Poliwhirl, and from my knowledge, these are the only Poliwhirl costumes ever made. Like, what? It does look like the 1997 suit, not 1997 suit, 1999 suit was still around by 2005. However, I only could find these two photos of him, which, you know, what can I do with that, man? That doesn't help me a lot. Which now brings us to the end. And is this every Pokemon custom out there? That is something that I cannot guarantee. There are likely variations or entire suits that I missed due to how elusive they are or lack of documentation. And I know I haven't talked about like the human characters such as like Ash and Dawn. I'm planning to do an honor video on that because I felt like their information should be more suited for that kind of video. Anyways, I know I didn't cover every Pikachu suit variation. Like I said, I originally planned a massive timeline, and trust me, it was gonna be great, but bro, okay, I've been talking so much today, but it quickly became overwhelming and far more tedious than I expected. Like, that said, this is something I'm genuinely passionate about, so if you know anything I missed about a specific custom history or even like a entirely different suit, please let me know. I'd love to do an update. Most of my sources will be linked in the description, though not all of them due to the character limit. And Cartoon Network will be the next big video. I'm trying to, for this year, 2 big videos per year. You know, that will be the next big video, but it's a headache that you can only imagine. Trust me on that. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Marvin, listen, do you have access to your doorbell camera?
I think I do.
Okay, can you pull up 5 minutes ago so we can see what happened to the car?
Yes, I'll pull up the camera right now.
James is a man in love.
Maple syrup come from trees. That don't make no sense.